Hi everyone, it's Promise Aderano again. All right, so yesterday I treated or reviewed the book, chapter 1 and 2 of the book written by Emefiana Ezani, which detailed the history of Nigeria and also the coup of 1966. Now, what is more important is after you've read that history, what is your own deductions? And here is my own personal deductions, right? Like I said yesterday, everybody has an interest, right? So you have the Igbo interest, the Hausa interest, the Yoruba's interest, but there is no such thing as the Nigerian interest, right? Because the country was meant to be an amalgamation. So that's why just 6 years after, they couldn't hold themselves. The ground couldn't hold because initially it wasn't built on something solid. Now, a lot of steps have been taken towards unity, dividing the places into states, trying to have a federal system, unicameral system of what do you call it, registration and all of that. But at the end of the day, we are still where we are, more than 60 something years after the whole independence. So, this is it. Even if you say that the Hausa interest is what is in place in Nigeria, why is it that if you go to the northern part of Nigeria, I mean, apart from Abuja, why is that everywhere doesn't look so nice, full-time electricity, water, and everything? So that means, in essence, the Hausa interest is not achieved. If you say it is the Yoruba interest, why is it that Lagos is still rated as the worst city to live in Nigeria? Traffic, dirty water, pollution in the air. If you also say it is the Igbo interest and the Igbos are this and that, why is it that Southeast still looks like somewhere that is abandoned? There's nothing going on there. People would rather live outside Igbo land than live in Igbo land. So that means all our interest has failed. But do you know whose interest has not failed? The British interest. And this is why you have to always ask yourself, you have to have self-evaluation. You have to always sit back and ask yourself, okay, this thing I'm doing, how much have I benefited from it? How much have I gained from it? Maybe the way I'm doing it, am I doing it well? Why is it that, I am not achieving so much? And that is what prompted me into going into, looking at, the situation of Nigeria. Because we have common problems. But then when we come to solution, stupid enough, we start bringing tribes, religion, and all of these things into it. Now, I've established in our history that there is nothing to be held against the Igbos as far as Nigerian history is concerned. They did what they thought was best to make Nigeria survive. They stopped the war from escalating in the north. They did what they did to kill off those corrupt politicians. And now somebody, a British teacher, was the one that, because Agui Ironsi was there in power for like 6 months, imprisoned those that carried out the coup d'etat. Now, some quarters had the school of thought that, oh, they were not punished enough. Maybe they wanted them killed off because they killed somebody as high as the Saduna and the Prime Minister, right? Now, knowing their intent, maybe that's why he wasn't, I don't know what made Agui Ironsi not to kill them, because it's supposed to be capital punishment for treason. But even Awolowo wasn't, because Awolowo was also charged for treasonable felony, but he wasn't killed, he was imprisoned. So I don't know why people are, against Agi Ironsi's punishment to those that carried out the coup. But, owing to that, it was easy for the British to now turn the North against the South for them to start killing civilians. And as soon as that happened, to the point that they killed over 50,000 Igbos in the north, about 200 army officers, including the highest Igbo ranking head of state then, who was Agi Ironsi. That also created a lot of instability, to the point that Ojukwu, who was more northern than he was an Igbo man, had to come back to the east, asking the same Igbos he asked to go back to the north. After Aguirre took over, he now asked them to come back again to the east. And the likes of Maduebo, if you read his book, you will see how long it took him even to journey down to the east. It took him about 7 days. He had to take detours and a lot of decoys, trying to protect himself and his life. And because anybody that was a soldier then from Igbo land, they were killed. They were actually stampeding the planes, the trains, checking everybody. If they see any Igbo, they will kill them off. So it took a long time for him to make that journey, over 7 days or so, for him to make it to the east, to make it to Enugu. And now they declared Biafra for their own safety, to defend. Now it is important for us to also understand that it was Gowon who also carried a coup against Aguirre, killed Aguirre and the Kule Fajri, that also waged war against the same Biafra. And you are the one that went to sign a Aburi Accord. And the Aburi Accord, you said that you agreed to confederation, which is everybody maintaining their own quotas. And the reason is, according to some school of thought, was that because the oil was in then eastern region under Ojukwu then, because the eastern region, I don't know if that time they've created the Midwestern region, but let's just say they've created the Midwestern region. So the oil was in the Midwestern region and the eastern region. So the river states, the Delta state and all of that, that's where the oil is. So probably because of that, Gowon wanted to make sure that they still have access to the oil. Now, what is the British interest? The British said that clearly because Akane Ibiam wrote a letter to Queen Elizabeth, because Queen Elizabeth gave him MBE award. I don't know, I've forgotten what he did. The British recognized Akane Ibiam. So if you are landing in Enugu Airport, you see Akane Ibiam Airport. So that man wrote a letter returning that award that the British gave to him. And he said in that letter that Biafrans are being killed and the British army are aware of it. So what the Queen did in response to that letter was to send aids to Nigeria. But at some point, including Awolowo, including Nigerian government, including the British and the Russians also, which was against Biafra, fighting for Nigeria, supported the blockade of food going to Southeast, going to the Biafrans. So a lot of people died because of Kwashiorkor. And Kwashiorkor simply means lack of food. There was no food and people were just getting skinny, looking like skeleton. Now, this was the amount of evil done. Now, till today, the oil of that eastern part of Nigeria, or the then eastern part of Nigeria, which is the south and southeast, because Imo State, Anambra State, all these places are oil producing part of the country, right? Is still what is funding Nigeria till today. But the most important thing for us to understand was it was the British protecting their interests, the Shell, the BP, the Total Energies that have been here drilling our oil. And again, we don't have any interest that have been protected, not even one single Nigerian interest. Just look at what is going on. We can't even feed our people. We don't have good roads. Our economy is in shambles. Our money is valueless. We don't have unity. So Nigeria is in a place that it is so difficult for even Tinubu to do anything. It would have been the same for P2B, it would have been the same for any other person. Because they've already put us in a place whereby we've committed some evil acts against each other that is almost impossible to see eye to eye. But I want to say something to Nigerians. Listen to this. If the Germans, Hitler, after what he wanted to subjugate all the Europeans under him, right, by way of war, after defeat, if the Germany, even West and East Germany, could unite to be Germany and also unite with other Europeans to form even EU and also to form NATO alliance against the Russians, I see no reason, no matter what evil that Nigeria has done, that even Biafrans cannot forgive or they cannot forgive Biafrans. Take it from me. The world has seen such cruelty. Even the one of the worst programs in the world, should I mention about the one of the genocide that is recognized, because they don't recognize Biafra genocide because they try to make the word Biafra to be extinct. It was even Mazen Nnamdi Kanu that brought the word Biafra up again. That today people are now saying the word Biafra. Gowon made a speech and said nobody should mention the word Biafra. Do you understand? But now, even Rwanda, the genocide carried against Rwanda, Paul Kagame is there today. So it does not mean that if forefathers have gotten things wrong and the first set of Nigerians didn't get things right, that does not mean that you should continue to today. There should be room for forgiveness for the progress of that nation. Because at the end of the day, we are not going to do away with our neighbors. Even if you have the Biafra, you are still going to have Nigerians in their place, which is next door neighbor to you. So at the end of the day, you have to find a way to live with your reality. It is your reality. Even the Israelites or the Israelis, they are still today functioning as a state, having alliances with all these people that even killed them in the past. Look at what happened to the Jews in Russia. Look at what happened to the Jews in America, in everywhere they've been. Even their next door body, their neighboring countries. How many wars have they fought? But they are still there today, having allies, still existing and coexisting with those people. So I'm saying this to say, Nigeria needs to sit up, recognize that they've wronged the Igbos, they've misjudged the Igbos, they've remove our history and all of that, but at the same time be ready to say sorry and to be accept apology, and at the same time find out a way for us to go beyond this big hurdle. Because like I keep saying, we are simply brothers that listened to strangers that turned us against each other. And funny enough, the Igbos saw something that the other parts of Nigeria cannot see. And I'm not saying it because I'm an Igbo man. A lot of Yorubas have been vocal enough. They've been speaking about Igbos in good light, speaking about the, Dele Momodu is there, Dele Falotimi is there. A lot of people have been speaking, even Chief Bode George and all the rest. A lot of people have been speaking, but again, those in power, and especially the Northerners, will be fighting it because they are still running off with that mentality that Ahmadu Bello said in that interview, that instead of them to give anything to the Igbos, they rather will give it to the expatriates. Now, that thing have been sowing that seed of hatred against the Igbos, thereby holding the whole country to ransom. Because these are the same people. And when people say that Igbos are not politically sound or whatever, it is not entirely correct. Igbos don't know how to do politics of tribe in Nigeria. They don't know how to do politics of let's have a one voice, united front against the other part or against the other tribes. They don't know how to do Nigerian politics. But Igbos are well positioned in politics of the world. If you talk about Igbos, they are in the MPs, they are in the parliament of the British people, they are there in the Italian government, they are there in the American government. Igbos are very good and thorough when it comes to politics of the world. They are in governments of the world. The only problem is that when it comes to Nigeria, there is an intentional hold to subjugate them. I watched the interview of former Senate President Chief Wabara, right, Adolphus Wabara, and he said some things that he was the one that stopped Obasanjo's third term. I remember when third term was a hot topic, and he was the Senate President then. If he okayed it, just like we were seeing the marriage between Akpabio and Tinubu, if he okayed that 250 million naira cash brought to him from Central Bank in mint, as a bribe, had he accepted it, Obasanjo could have been in third term, and it could have been one of the nemesis Nigeria will be facing. And he proposed on the floor of the Senate on his "Oh my people, oh my people" speech, whereby he proposed a 6-year tenure so that every senatorial zone, which Abacha also alluded to, that senatorial zone, that 6th senatorial zone was brought in place to make sure that there is no marginalization. Now PDP have jettisoned the Nigerian government have jettisoned the PDP and removed that zoning from APC. And today there might not be an Igbo president. But that said, it is for Nigerians to find a way to resolve this issue, because no interest in Nigeria has actually made it, apart from the money they are looting for very few people. And at the end of the day, your people are still suffering, and everybody is suffering, especially now. This APC has brought more suffering to Nigeria. And until and unless we face the issue of unity in Nigeria, we will continue to suffer, and our children will continue running away to join other countries and go there and be slaves as well. Look at the people walking to Libya, walking by foot, just trying to escape their fatherland, when in essence their fatherland is making millions and billions of dollars daily for other foreign governments. I pray that this message finds some sensible people in government. Please send this video to people that you have in politics, so maybe somebody will have sense. God bless you. Thank you.